Hey guys, still there. I know it's been a while, but I decided to take a break just around Christmas, so that's why there haven't been any videos up about the last 6 or 7 days. But today I'm going to be doing quite a lot of videos, so we have at least some material to enjoy for the rest of the year. And today I'm reviewing the BMD-4. Now you can find this vehicle in Shishkin's line. You have all the BMDs that you played previously, BMD-1 and 2. Then there's the Bradley, which is a bit of the odd one out because it's quite a bit bigger. It has quite a bit more armor than the usual BMDs do. And then there's the BMD-4. And this one is a major improvement over the Bradley. And one of the first things you should know about this vehicle is that it doesn't carry a separate missile launcher like you might be used to from, let's say, the BMD-2 or the tow launcher that sits on the Bradley. You can see over here that the Bradley has a very separate tow launcher. The BMD-2 has, I believe, a missile tube. Let's see, do I still... where is it? Yep, it's the same standard separate missile tube here. The BMD-4 does this in a different way. The BMD-4 has a 30mm autocannon, that's the narrow gun. The bigger gun over on the right side of the tank, or I suppose you could say the middle, is a 100mm weapon that you can use to fire two different types of rounds. The rounds that you can fire are the ATGM and a HE frag round, and these are going to do quite a bit of damage, especially to lighter unprotected targets. But keep in mind, HE is classed as a round that's pretty easily stopped by explosive reactive armor. The ATGM is a very nice weapon, but I'm going to get to that a bit later. Now, the BMD-4, as far as upgrades go, you don't have that much. You can unlock an armor retrofit slot to get a bit more HP, and that's something that this vehicle does need. You can unlock better rounds for your AP section, your HE section, and then you can go for upgrades to the ATGM. And this ATGM is a very powerful weapon. It does a lot of damage. 827, but I have seen these go way higher if you got the correct retrofits and you have the targets laced. That's when you can get damage well around the 1000 points of damage range per missile. Of course, being an ATGM, it does take quite a while for these things to get reloaded, but not as long as some of the other ones that fire in salvos of 2 or 4, because these things only take you 12.9 seconds to reload. Now, as you have seen, I have not installed the best engine upgrade yet, because for me the gain is far too low. I can unlock it, because I still have quite a bit of unlocked vehicle reputation, but I'm not going to pay near enough 900,000 credits to get an increase of 0.08 seconds in acceleration. It's just not worth it. This vehicle accelerates extremely fast as is, and I don't need that to be improved any further. In technology section you can unlock smoke grenades and a tech retrofit slot, and of course this will help you with spotting targets. You get an improved fire control system which is going to improve your aim time, and for the autocannon that's definitely worth it. And then you have a universal retrofit slot. So all in all you have 4 retrofit slots that you can use to adjust this vehicle to your liking. I went with the enhanced shell materials here to get a bit better moving accuracy, actually quite a lot better by 18.5%. And reload time of almost 5%. Now by this time I have also the Mark III unlocked, but I didn't really want to shell out another 600,000 or 700,000 credits net, because of course I'm going to be selling the Mark II and buying the Mark III. I didn't really think that the gains were that impressive for another 700,000 credits. Gyroscopic stabilizers are also going to help with your aim time, which means that you can keep that autocannon on target a lot longer. And of course, having your gun on target longer means more fire going into a target. I personally didn't use the armor retrofit slot because pretty much throughout the time that I was grinding this vehicle, I didn't really have the amount of credits required to buy, let's say, the internal hull reinforcement, which you can get for 460,000, and that's going to get you another 10% XP. What I do have is augmented optics to get my vision range as high as it can possibly go, because this thing is already a very good spotter. It has pretty nice camo ranges, and this means that you can pretty reliably spot targets without being spotted yourself, and you can even, if you're at significant range, fire ATGMs from cover. Now, about the weapons that this thing carries. It is one of the first vehicles that I have seen that has 3 pools available. The first pool only carries the HE frag round, that's the 100mm round. And I have this equipped in the number 4 slot, so that once I start a game, I'm first going to start loading AP in my main gun, and I suppose you could say the secondary weapon, the 100mm gun, is going to be firing or loading the ATGM. Pool 2 consists of AP rounds, AP DS rounds, and HE. And let's switch this to best available so the AP round drops, and that only leaves the APDS. These things have a penetration of 156, which is pretty good. But of course you won't be taking on enemy tanks from the front. That is something that you can do with the ATGM, provided that there's not too much of missile defense, either active protection system, ERA, or any other kind of very heavy armor layering on that vehicle. I also carry some incendiary autocannon rounds, although far less than I do with my main AP rounds. Actually, I never actually upgraded these. That's a bit sloppy. The HE rounds are incendiaries, which means that they will also always do a bit of damage. They're going to do a lot more module damage than the standard rounds, so you can start to knock out modules on vehicles that you might not otherwise be able to penetrate. And of course, the HE frag round is the 4th one. Now, keep in mind that whichever you load in slot 1 and 2, or 1 and 3 depending on where you have your 100mm ammo, is going to be loaded into that weapon. So I want APDS to be my standard ammo. I want my ATGM to be my secondary weapon of sorts. If you switch the HE round to the ATGM, or the other way around, whichever has the lowest number is going to be loaded first. So that's something that you need to keep in mind before you go into the battle, because it means that the vehicle is going to behave in a certain way. It's going to start loading a certain type of ammo, and you might find yourself loading, for example, HE ammo, where you actually want to have ATGMs ready to go. Now you may have already seen that the ATGMs on this vehicle are only 10 by number, which means you have to be a bit more careful. I believe that the Bradley carries a very decent amount of 20 missiles. This one only carries 10, which means you have to pick your targets more carefully. They can do a lot of damage. They can do per missile almost as much or more damage than 2 missiles which successfully hit from the Bradley, but you don't get that many of them. So in case that you're dealing with a vehicle that has an active protection system, so it can shoot down missiles, you will have to first fire a missile at it. The missile will get shot down, and then you have to fire another one. Consumables, of course, I'm using this standard stuff, all the expensive units to make sure that I have all the passive bonuses here. Retrofits already discussed. As far as the commander goes, I was using Maximilian. I don't really need him anymore, because right now I don't have any need for the reputation gains. So I'm going to switch back to Sabrina Washington. And Sabrina Washington has, of course, quite a few upgrades or quite a few perks that are going to be useful for this vehicle. Vision range, aim speed, camo factor, a less of a visibility penalty when shooting, and you can capture faster, although of course being mostly a PvE player, this is not really that important for me. Now a quick look at the entire stats of the vehicle. The damage, this is the HE round, so it's very hard to pinpoint whether this is the best type of weapon that you should be using. Damage per minute is 3.1, although again I wouldn't really take this too seriously, because you can fire your autocannon and then fire your ATGM as the autocannon is loading, and I think you can get far higher than 3000 DPM. Armor is something that this thing barely has, but you're pretty much familiar with that from the other BMD vehicles. You don't have that many hit points, and any round that you will take will do damage. There's just not a lot of armor there. 18 millimeters, 80 millimeters on the turret front. That's by far the strongest armor that you have. But it's military aluminum and steel, so don't expect this thing to have any magic modifiers there, which will keep you safe. Speed on this vehicle is 70 kph. Funnily enough, I have seen this thing do 70 kph in reverse as well. So if you are going to find yourself in a situation where you need to get out very quickly, just put it in reverse. You don't have to turn around, you can just put it in reverse and get the hell out of there. Camouflage of 0.36, very decent for a vehicle such as this, which means that if you're moving at slow speed you can actually do quite a bit of passive or semi-passive spotting without being detected and maintaining that camo range. And then there's a view range of 490. I believe that this is almost as good or better than the Bradley. Of course it's not anywhere near the Weasel or VBL line. But it's well enough for this vehicle, as mostly you're going to be the one spotting targets, which means more XP and more credits for you. Gun depression, -6 at best. It's not great, but it's workable. Turret reverse is okay. Reload time is 7.21 seconds. That's for your main clip. Sorry, that's not for the main clip. That's for the HE round. It's a bit confusing here, but the main clip loads a little faster. And then accuracy spread of 0.10, of course that's with all the modifiers that I have from my retrofits. Targeting time of 1.59 is very good, especially since you're going to be firing consistently at a target. This is definitely what you need. Now, I gotta mention, I've played this thing mostly in PvE, so I'm not that great in PvP, but this thing can be really effective in PvP if you use it correctly. The playstyle is entirely up to you. This thing is very versatile. You can use it as a sort of aggressive scout, where you use your autocannon to start harassing vehicles. For that situation I would load the HE round as well as the incendiary ammo to make sure that you don't have to wait for your ATGM to get ready. Or you could play it more as a bit of a defensive unit initially, where you're going to be launching ATGMs at vehicles at long range, hoping that they're not going to have any terrain or any defensive countermeasures to spot or defend themselves against your incoming missiles. And later on in the game, if you're still alive by that time, you can very quickly take down targets because you have such a wide variety of selection of weapon systems available. Alright, pipelines is loading up. Mostly a tier 7 match it seems, a few tier 6s, an artillery or 2 on our team, 2 paladins, and they have a paladin and a Katsia. Couple of tank destroyers here are really disliking the BMD, because with this vehicle you can extremely quickly whittle down their health. You can very easily go through their sides, possibly their front, and do a lot of damage that way. Now the way that I'm going to be playing this vehicle is I'm going to move towards a position along this ridgeline here. And from there I'm going to try and spot stuff, laze it if possible, and fire ATGMs at them to make sure that I do at least a bit of damage from there. And keep in mind that a bit of damage in this vehicle with an ATGM amounts to somewhere between 700 and I'd say 1050, especially if you have your targets lazed. Now note the very good acceleration. Hull traverse is okay. It's not exactly as fast as the BMP lines, but you can very quickly turn this thing around if you have to. Looks like I'm going to be sharing my spotting range here with the VBL. There's another BMD-4. Now note that as I'm moving slowly, I'm not losing any camo factor. The moment you speed up to somewhere beyond, I believe, 25 to 40, you're going to be noticing that difference. Alright, lasing the target. Target's lased. Missile is... Yep, there you go. 952 damage. Bit close there with the terrain, but he just lost 1500 hit points. 900 due to me, and quite a few due to others firing at them. Switching back to the autocannon. Unfortunate some bounces there. And I gotta say, it's a bit busy here. I'm here with a Weasel and a VBL, so everyone's trying to get a shot at this T-80 here. As far as I'm concerned, there's way too many of us here. Artillery's firing at possibly something behind me there. Oh, there's T-80 again. And there is the BMP. That's something I really want to hit. Switching to the ATGM. They're probably gonna spook this guy. Yeah, he's already dead. Alright, let's see what else I can hit. Keep in mind that if a T-80 hits you with an AP round, you're going to be losing anywhere between 50 and 40% of your hit points. So whatever you do, make sure you're in cover and don't get hit, because this thing just doesn't have hit points to burn.
Identify target.
T-72. Note the fast turret traverse, by the way. You can really quickly swing this thing around. There's a BMD-4. Who just got into cover again. There he is. Didn't hit him. There is an XM1 there, but he's very, very well in cover, so it's going to be impossible for me to fire an ATGM at him. But this Challenger, it's a completely different story. Oh, been spotted. Don't want to stick around. I'm not sure who he's... Yep, he aimed at me. And the BMP-3M is also firing at me now. Oh, this is going to hurt. Yep, lost 1100 hit points there because I made a mistake of being too aggressive. That's how bad this thing will punish you if you make a mistake. You go out too aggressively, it will kill you. And I have absolutely no intention of dying this early in the game.
Identify target.
That Challenger's doomed. There you go, he's out. And there's a Stingray here. Oh dear. Oh dear. And that's the BMP again. I thought he was dead, but apparently not quite. It's the BMD. I'm gonna move back a bit and try and intercept that Stingray that's coming up before they manage to rush the artillery that we have. Moving very slowly here, intentionally. Don't want to give my position away. There it is. Oh, it's a different vehicle than I expected. ATGM should be able to take care of that. If you could be so kind to get out from behind that rock. Doesn't look like it though. Missile away. No effect, no pen. Just gonna wait for the ATGM to get ready again. Because he hasn't seen me yet. Missile away. Got him. Stingray just decided to pretty much rove around here. Didn't see him around. He has spotted me now. And he just needs to fire once and I'm done. So I really, really doubt that I'm going to make it out alive here. Yep, I'm dead. 1600 damage, 1300 damage taken, means that I did a little over the amount of hit points that I lost. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a bit of a positive ratio, but not as well as I would have hoped. Now the reason that I'm not doing so well is because mostly I was playing this thing in PvE. I found that it is really, really effective there. Of course, it does depend on the map, but in PvE you can, depending on the map, pretty reliably fire ATGMs into vehicles, do 1000 plus damage every missile, and finish off targets with the ATGM. Now I did manage to get 6800 XP. Keep in mind that that is with a boost. It says UI balance event. This is the Christmas event that's been going on. And this means that I think that also match tier multiplier might come in here. I'm actually not getting this much XP every game, if only. I got 1411. I did probably quite a bit of spotting damage, 1029. 1638 personal damage, recon award. You're going to be seeing this a lot if you use the retrofit that I have, which is the visual enhancement, the augmented optics 2. Other than that, I hadn't expected really to come second in my team, but we got 3 players who just had absolutely no damage, so I suppose that that clouds the results a bit. Alright, let's take it into PvP again and try to get a better result this time around. Alright, next up, Cold Strike. I'm spawning north, and Cold Strike is a map where you can pretty much, if you're in a BMD-4, go either way. You can engage in this sector and try to do some spotting, use your long-range ATGM to engage vehicles that way. Or, and this is something that I have seen vehicles do lately, you go down the 9 line, you sit somewhere in A9 or B9 and you fire ATGMs at vehicles that are operating right there. Now, that is a strategy that's pretty viable, but I'm not going to do it because I only fire one ATGM at a time. And you can usually find 2, 3, sometimes 4 tanks coming up the 9 line. The problem is that most of these vehicles at this tier, I expect them to have an active protection system. That means that every time that missile is going to get shot down. So that I'm going to be running out of missiles before I really do any consistent damage, because those vehicles, even though they have a cooldown of 45 seconds on their APS, they're pretty much going to be covering each other, and that's not something that I want to wait around for. Now it looks like Artie decided to fire a flare here in order to try and spot vehicles such as myself going towards this sector. Warrior got spotted probably. But I'm a bit worried here, because it's just me and this warrior. The thing is, though, that they don't really have any vehicles with long spotting ranges. Look at this, I spotted this guy at 549 meters. I can still laze him at this range, which I really hadn't expected. Send an ATGM his way. Oh, he's going into the dip there. Yep, 1142 damage at a massive range without being detected at all. There's an XM8 there. Also a very nice target for an ATGM, since they don't really have that much protection against it. But he managed to dip away. The Challenger's near enough dead. Look at that, he's burning up. He's out. That's one down. Looks like the warrior is spotting these targets. Missile away. Oh, come on, get up there. Module hit. I hit his fuel tank, which means that next time someone else might be able to put this thing on fire. Missile going in.
No pen.
No pen, unfortunately. Now this Challenger is getting closer and closer, which means that it's going to be harder and harder for me to fire ATGMs without being detected. Going up as high as possible in order to get a good topside shot at this vehicle. And do a top-down attack. Missed, unfortunately. There's the XM8 though. Might be able to hit that one.
Target lock, requesting fire support.
Come on, Sunshine. You're gonna take a lot of damage.
Good hit.
There you go. I have been spotted though. Let's not stick around for too long. Look at this. 70 in reverse.
Ammo up.
There are vehicles that don't make forward speeds that fast. T90. I really doubt I'm gonna be able to pen this guy, especially at this range.
Ricochet.
Let's switch to incendiary. Try to do some damage that way. XM8's a bit upset, it seems. Nope, he's gone. Challenger 1. Looks like the warrior managed to take out the Challenger there. I just want to bloody this guy a bit. Do a bit of module damage, so that the next hit might actually do a critical hit somewhere. Missile going in. Side of the turret. I know it's one of the strongest parts, but you can still go through with these missiles. 952. That was the warrior firing at him. Next missile. I only got one left now. Oh, warrior took him out. Alright, switching back to APDS rounds. But by the time that I actually get there, the warrior will have killed the artillery, so I'm not actually going to go there. Let's head north. There's a Leo 2A6 and a 2A5 threatening the artillery. And I doubt that our vehicles are going to be able to intercept them in time, so I might have to step in there. I'm hoping that those tanks are going to turn around, head south, so that I can flank around north. You can see the vehicle pretty much tops it off at 78, 80. And I hope I'm going to be able to... Oh, come on, climb up. There you go. Leopard managed to take out our artillery. Just this guy left. The Leopard 2A6 is a very, very dangerous target. And I have no intention of skirmishing with this guy alone, so I'm going to wait for the T-90 to engage him. I'm going to try to get up to the rear of the tank and do damage that way. Managed to spot him. T-90 MS might even have trouble penetrating this vehicle. Oh, seen me. It's fired at me. Let's lace this guy. Come on. Yeah, my tracks ate the shot. That was lucky. That was really lucky. That should have taken off a fair amount of hit points. Climbing up this hill in the most inelegant way possible. Come on, laze him. There you go. Alright, have at him. There you go. No damage taken, 3,500 damage done. This is one of the results that you can pretty reliably get in this vehicle. Of course, it did help that the enemy team did not have any reconnaissance vehicles, so they couldn't really see what I was doing up there. But it's a really effective vehicle in this way. And of course, this time it's going to be a victory with the ×3 modifier, so it's going to be a really, really high amount of XP. But don't be mistaken, it's a ×3 modifier. There you go, 40,000 XP, 199,000 credits, which nets me 170,000. As far as the teams go, I did not go as far as I had thought. I did do most of the damage, 3,500, but this time around I just didn't spot that much. Or someone else spotted a lot more, it seems. I think that the T-90 MS did a lot of damage, as well as spotting quite some vehicles. You can see that the spotting damage is not just the amount of damage that I actually did to vehicles that I saw, but also designation damage. This definitely helps. There you go. 2,144 damage to designated enemies. Don't forget that laser designator. It can really, really help you out and do a lot of damage. Okay, maybe you're not a PvP player. In that case, let's head into PvE. Set up a a hard contract. And with this, unfortunately, it is Operation Scorpio, so it's not the best. But you can still get quite a lot of XP in this match type, or in this game type. Of course, credit gains will be quite a bit less, because PvE currently in 0.12 just does not give as much reward credit-wise as it does XP-wise. Now, I've already completed the grind on the BMD-4. I already have the Ramka. You can also unlock the Warrior from it, and I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to keep this vehicle or sell it. I think that it can make a really interesting moneymaker at tier 7. That is, if you make it battle hardened, which means you can get a sort of semi-premium vehicle in exchange for a pretty hefty price in gold. It's going to make you more XP, more credits, and I think it's also going to be training up your crew a bit faster. I don't really need that. I already got my crew at level 5, I believe, so I don't really need the crew XP. But what you can do with this thing is, if you really enjoy playing it, take it into PvE, take it into PvP, let's say get your daily mission done. And that way, really quickly get a lot of credits. Personally, I haven't hardened any of the vehicles yet, so I haven't turned them into premium yet. I may still do that later, but currently I already got quite a few premium vehicles and I don't really need to convert any of my vehicles into premiums. Oh, I don't want to be here when the artillery hits. Bit of damage. There's Stingray. Dropping down. Oh, there's a Leopard 2A6 here. No intention of getting hit by that.
Identified. Hostile tank.
That narrowly avoided. Looks like everyone decided to spawn in at the same time.
Target hit. Ricochet.
The side of the VFM is surprisingly sturdy. Reloaded.
Direct hit. Ricochet.
I shouldn't have fired at the side of the vehicle. I should have fired at the side of the turret, of course. Let's get a good shot into this guy and finish him off. Because we don't have that much armor. Especially since we have a VBL. Oh, Remka.
Penetrating. Good. No effect. Ricochet. No effect.
Only saw his turret, but it's enough. Let's lace the Leopard 2A6.
Bradley, requesting fire at target.
Get the missile in. Although active protection is probably going to save this vehicle.
Nailed him.
Nope, he did not have active protection installed.
Direct hit.
Do a bit of damage on this guy. Wait for him to swing around.
They got lucky.
Alright, I'm just going to fire another missile into him. These are really important targets that you need to kill for your team. There you go. Alright. Now about the rest of these guys. 2A5, Superior Stingray.
Nailed him. Direct hit. Identify target. Hostile tank.
There's another 2A6 up there. And the 2A5 here. Missile heading in.
Enemy destroyed.
Dead. Looks like the VBL is trying to damage the 2A6, but not really being very successful at it. Salvaged M1, laced, missile going in. It's very, very angled. Yeah, that was never going to hit. Doing most of the damage on my team so far. Oh, Stingray's still here.
Identified.
No, actually it's a new Stingray, just spawned in. There you go, completely clipped this guy. 1200 damage done in, I believe, about 5 seconds. Got him.
Identified. Hostile tank.
It's MBT-70 and a Thunderbolt up here. I really want to help out my team with this M1, although he's probably going to be dead by the time that I actually help out. Beware of BMP-3s and BMD-4s. They will fire HE frag rounds at you. Now you can survive quite a few. They don't do as much damage as they once did, but they are still really destructive. And as I mentioned in my PvP matches, you don't have the amount of XP to burn that you may need to survive that onslaught. So try to prioritize those targets, especially since they're really easy to kill with this autocannon. Something else that you need to be aware of if you're driving this vehicle, you can get yourself killed just by being too fast in the terrain. You can really get a lot of damage done to yourself simply by jumping off cliffs far too quickly. MBT-70 here, good side shot, missile going in. 780, not bad. He's very nicely going to turn around, and I'm getting hit. EXP tank. Yep, certainly down a half HP. Come on, target destroyed. BMD-4. Looks like he's in a bit of terrain cover there. Look at that, 40 kph in reverse going uphill. Not a problem for this vehicle. Not at all. Looks like we got artillery to the south. Might not be able to clip this guy. No, he survived. 29. Come on. I don't want to get shot at by this guy. Looks like he's looking at someone else. Or not. Wonderful. Okay, let's get the artillery. My team will be very happy if I can kill the artillery for them. I'm gonna reload an HE shell so I should at least have a bit of an idea of how that thing does damage. And there's the paladin. This can also be a really effective 1-2 punch with the autocannon and the HE round. There you go. 1020 damage in pretty much no time at all. Simply by firing an HE round first and then finishing off a target by firing the AP round. Another leopard's gonna pop in. Switch back to the ATGM.
Got some of that poison off the streets.
Identify target.
Oh, I'm not gonna stick around here. Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Here a trap.
Whew. Just took some track damage, but I thought I would take quite a bit of damage there. 2A5 is very heavily engaged with XM1 here, but he's showing his rear. There's the leopard somewhere. Yep, there it is. Come on. He's hiding out behind the rock. I'm gonna pop my PvE repair kit, because the Leopard 2 can one-shot me if it wants to.
Don't let enemy reinforcements through, or we'll lose
I'd
this
hate
town.
for that to happen. This guy is just not moving anywhere. Come on. Yeah, now he's moving. Missile in.
Good hit.
1200 damage. Sorry, 800 damage.
We got him.
Target down. There. Currently done 12,000 damage. So as far as I'm concerned, that's far above the 3000 DPS that the game itself is showing you. I think it's very hard for the game to actually properly calculate the amount of damage that you can do with this vehicle. Just gonna cap it out here with Arcel in the T-72A. There's probably someone still alive somewhere, or this might be one of the maps where, regardless of whether you kill everyone, the match is just not gonna end. Oh, there's still a few of them there. That was just in time. Let's hope the T-72A is going to break cap as well, so we can do a bit more damage here. We still have plenty of time. They're well behind the buildings. That means I'm going to be firing at short range, so I'm going to preload the HE round instead of the missile, because the missile is not going to be that useful here. T-72A still capping. Gives me about 20 seconds to do some damage here. Terminator. BMP-3M just died. Now beware of the Terminator. This thing can kill you extremely quickly. Oh shit. I'm very happy that this Leo 2A6 is not interested in me currently. There, he's down. BMP-T. I'm really gonna need that XM1 to move up. Not sure who this guy's looking at. Switching to HE round. 242. I might get on his rear and do some damage. Come on. Got him. Yep, that was all of them. So, that's the BMD-4 in a PvE match. Make sure you dart around in a PvE match. If you're going to be sitting still all the time, you're not going to get as much opportunity to fire at targets, which means you're losing out on damage, and damage lost is of course credits and XP lost. So dart around, spot stuff, make sure you have ATGMs loaded when required, because that last loading to HE really did a lot more damage than I had expected. An ATGM in that situation would have required me to stop. And stopping close to a Leopard 2A6 and a BMP-T is pretty much a death sentence, so don't really go there if you don't have to. Again, ×3 modifier on this thing, so don't really take that 10,900 XP too seriously. 13,000 damage done, 6,500 spawning damage, only made 38,000 credits. Don't go into PvE if you like credits, because you're just not going to get that many there. Anyway, that pretty much completes the review of the BMD-4. I really like this vehicle, especially after the Bradley. You're going to be feeling so much more mobile in this thing. I'm still not sure if I'm going to keep it. If you want to sell this thing, it's a pretty interesting amount of credits you're going to get, 5 million. But I might just go ahead and turn this thing into battle hardened for 2700 gold, which means more reputation, more credits, and more crew and commander experience. So that's something that you can do if you like this thing and you want to turn it into a sort of semi-premium vehicle. Anyway, hope you liked this review. If you did, please hit like. If you have any questions about the vehicle, let me know in the comments. And other than that, I hope you have some very, very good fun with this thing, because it can be a very, very impressive vehicle. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next video.